So at the bottom of my Excel workbook, I'm going to click on this Capital Call Notices tab, and I'll close out the document viewer for a moment. So this is another use case that can be really relevant to fund admins that are reviewing capital call notices, but this also applies to other documents if you're looking at PCAP statements, if you're looking at subscription documents, any case where you have these forms that are coming in a consistent format every time, and you want to pull information from them. We can use form extraction to pull the relevant information we want from these standard documents. And in this use case, we'll show how we can pull that information out of the documents and then check it against our source information to verify that, in this case, all these capital call notices have the right amount, date, and fund name before we send them out. So in the data snipper ribbon here in the automation section, I'll click on document extraction, and then I'll click on form extraction. This is going to bring up our form extraction window, and in the top right corner, I can click Start New Form Extraction. Here, I need to select the documents I want to extract from. In this case, I want to select my capital call notices folder, but know that we also have the ability to individually select documents if you wanted to pick and choose. I'll go ahead and click OK. And this is our form extraction setup. So if I click on this drop down at the top here, we can see all of the documents we've chosen to extract from. And on the left side, this drop down is how we choose how we want to repeat that extraction. So in this example, I have one capital call notice per PDF. So I want to extract per document. If, for example, I received all of my capital call notices in one PDF file, I could choose to extract per page. This would allow Data Snipper to read every page of that PDF and pull out the information we're looking for. We also have the ability to extract multiple lines per page, and I'll show that in the next example. But again, for this use case here, each capital call notice is in a separate PDF, so we will extract per document. To create an extraction field, all we have to do is click Add Extraction. And let's say the first thing I want to pull is the amount here. So all we have to do is left click and drag over the information we want to extract. When we create that extraction field, you'll see that I have a preview of extractions that appears on the right side. And I can click into any of these cells and I can see where this information is coming from in my document viewer. It's going to be highlighted in yellow for me. Going to go ahead and add a few more extractions in. I'll click Add Extraction. Let's say we want to pull in the date. Again, we've created a field over that information there, and we can see it in the preview. And I'll do this once more. Click Add Extraction. I want the fund name here, so I will go ahead and create a field for that. So we see all of our extractions here on the right here, and we can review to make sure everything makes sense. Right now, our extractions are labeled 1, 2, and 3, so not very clear what these represent. We can rename these to make it easier to understand. On the left side here, we can click on the 3 dots for extraction 1, and we can click Rename. I can go ahead and call this one Amount. Click OK. And then I can click on the 3 dots for extraction 2, click Rename, call this one Date. And then I can click on the 3 dots for extraction 3, click Rename, and call this Fund Name. Now, if I already know that I'm going to be doing this on a monthly basis, and I get these exact documents every time, what we can do is we can save this as a template so that next time I have to do this extraction, I can just select the template and have all of this automated for me. So on the left side here, I am going to click Save as Template. And here I can give my template a name. So if I want to go ahead and call this Cap Call Notices, I can go ahead and click OK. And that template is now going to be saved in the My Templates section. So if I click OK here, that's now saved. So next time I need to use this, I don't have to worry about it. Now what I want to do is I want to extract this information, or excuse me, export it to Sheet. So on the right here underneath preview of extractions, I can click export to Sheet. You'll see that Data Snipper creates a new tab here called Form Extraction, and we can see here that all of that information has been extracted for us with a text snip. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and Control C to copy these snips, go back into my Capital Call Notices tab, and paste the snips in there. If I go back to my form extraction tab quickly here, you can see that my documents were labeled by the fund name, so they're in alphabetical order, and that's how I have it listed here, so it lines up perfectly. You can take the same approach here so that you can just copy and paste directly. If the order that the extraction is different than is listed here, then you'll also just want to be cognizant of how you're pasting it into your tab here. You'll see that on the right here, I have simple Excel formulas running to compare these cells. And if there is a mismatch there, it's going to highlight no match for me. And you can see up top here, I just have another formula that's showing me the total of capital call notices that don't match. So this is a quick way to identify, that, Jackie Fund here, this amount is off by 11,007, off by 1 here. So if I want to review that, I could go and click on the comment button, and I could go ahead and create that text box there and say, update this. Or, we could go into this cell here and change the text here to say, fix this as an example. Another way that we can do this is just by applying conditional formatting to our snips. So what I can do is I can click on the Home tab here, and I can select the cells here in the amount column. And I can go to the conditional formatting section here, click on New Rule, and then I can click Use a Formula to determine which cells to format. And here I can also do a simple formula. I can say if A4 is not equal to D4, that I want this cell to be bright red. So I can go to the fill section here, click red, click OK, and call that out very quickly. I'll do this for the fund name as well. Again, highlight those cells, go to conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula to determine, and say that if cell C4 is not equal to F4, that we also want this to be bright red. And you can see here that this is another way that we can quickly do this review to call out where there is not an exact match, and then quickly go back to those documents, make those adjustments. We can then run the form extraction again. If we pretend that we got a new set of documents here, I could go to my Data Snipper ribbon, click on Document Extraction, click on Form Extraction, go back to my form extraction homepage. And if we click on the My Templates tab, we can see that template that we've just created earlier. So let's say we got new capital call notices. We could select those, click OK. And you see here, I didn't have to do any of this setup. It's automatically pulling that information that I need. And I can go ahead and export that to Sheet and then update the template to see if everything that needs to be fixed was fixed. So this covers this use case on capital call notices, but again, this use case is applicable to any type of form that you're doing a review of. Again, you just want to make sure that you are creating those extractions over each field of information you want to pull out, and then you can export it to Sheet here, and then paste it in, compare it against that source information, and make sure that everything is good to go.